My official prediction for Rob Font and Jose Aldo is not ready. It's not ready. I promise you guys, I'll be back. I will put the Chael curse on somebody. I'll tell you who I think is going to win so that you can bet the opposite and make some money. I'm not ready today. Rob Font is quite possibly the most underappreciated guy in MMA right now. Now, Rob Font, last time I saw, was ranked number 3. But we will have champions of the world that are underappreciated. Charles Oliveira comes to mind. He is the best. He is absolutely the best. He is recognized. He is crowned as the best. People don't think he is. It's just one of those things where you got to overcome perception sometimes. I'm sharing with you, Rob Font is as good as the hype and better. I'm telling you, this guy is better. Do you remember Tim Kennedy? Tim Kennedy was such a powerhouse in this sport, and I would tell anybody that would listen every time I spoke about Tim Kennedy, this is the most undervalued fighter in the sport. I had to say this for like 4 years. I feel that Tim Kennedy, who's left the sport, is still one of the best ground fighters we've ever seen. I think when he fought Hodger Gracie and Hodger had his back and they stayed there for an entire round and Tim Kennedy comes through 50 minutes later and gets his hand raised, I feel as though he really showed that, but it was missed by the audience. And I bring Tim Kennedy because it's a household name that you all love, and I'm telling you, that's what Rob Font is right now. Rob Font has the reach. He has the conditioning. He's got balls of steel. He has everything that you could look for. It's punches and bunches. It's head movement. He can take a shot. He's got a hell of a chin. He can wrestle like a son of a bitch. Rob Font is the total package. I'm not ready to tell you he's going to win. And one of the reasons I'm not ready to tell you he's ready to win, I'm not sure. I hope he does. Jose Aldo and I, when I was competing with Jose, when we were at the same time, we never got along, not once. Not one time have I ever shook hands, been happy to see Jose Aldo, and he'd tell you the same thing about me. He is an inspiration to me right now. I don't know there's a bigger compliment that you can give than to say you look up to somebody else. I look up to what Jose Aldo is doing. He gives me hope. He gives me promise. I'm not ever coming back, but he makes me feel like maybe I could. He reminds me of that you got to have a love and a passion for the sport. To watch Jose Aldo, I'm going back 2 years, to watch him change his physiology. This is a champion of the world who held the belt for 11 years undefeated until he ran into 14 bad seconds against Conor McGregor. Nobody's going to do that again. No matter how good you are, Georges St. Pierre and Jon Jones could not come back today in today's atmosphere and go 11 years. It's not going to happen again. Not in my lifetime. Probably never. But never's got to have a date on it. In my lifetime, nobody's going 11 years undefeated. Jose's already done it. When he had that level of success, he wanted it back. That's where the changing of the physiology came in. It's very important that you focus on that phrase, changing physiology. To explain to you the commitment and the dedication that Jose would have to make to later in life go 145 down to 135. And you guys have seen him, right? He's carved out of stone. There's no fat on the bone. But to know that every day he's counting calories, he's counting macros, he's looking at proteins, he's thinking about how hard he trains, how many calories he puts out, he's going to bed hungry, he's sacrificing and getting through it anyway. To know that he's doing that with his life. Guys, I could tell you a few people who are. I could probably tell you 10, in fact. I can't tell you any that used to be world champion. That's where the difference comes in. How is this guy hungry? How does this guy want it so bad? And he's this close to getting it. Jose Aldo is this close to being back in a world title fight. And there's opportunity at that weight class, because don't forget, we got 2 champions right now. We got Jan and Sterling. History says they have to fight, but there's no written contract that says they does. That's not the road I want to go down. What I'm talking about is there is opportunity, and Jose is going after it, and he's doing it the hard road. If he gets through Rob Font, which he can do, Jose Aldo can do it. But if he gets through Rob Font, I want him to get the credit that he would deserve. And I don't think in right now's atmosphere he's going to, because I don't think you guys understand how goddamn good Rob Font is. Rob Font is as close to a perfect fighter. And I've had my battles with Rob Font because my teammate Ricky Simone fought him. So I've studied Rob Font. I've looked for Rob's weaknesses. I'm looking for strategies so we can go in the gym, we can work on it with Ricky. Just to personalize it, but that's some of my history with Rob Font. Everything I saw was a perfect fighter. I know what to tell Ricky. I got no weaknesses in Rob Font. You know, most guys, would I rather be on my feet or would I rather take him to the ground? I mean, that's the day-old question since 1993, but it still exists to this day, and you still try to figure it out. Or you better in between. You're in the clinch and you're doing dirty boxing, right? I mean, the analysis of the X and O's gets very lazy and very boring. But that's still generally a really good starting point. Do you want him on the feet or do you want him on the ground? With Rob Font, I don't know the answer. That's how good he is. I do not know where his weak spot is, and you can't get the sumbitch tired. That's always your default button. In every sport, particularly this one, just forget about who's better, who can go harder longer. That's where you want to identify, and that's who you're going to put your money on. And when the boys are in the back, Jose's in his locker room and Rob's in his locker room, they're going to ask themselves that question. If a worst case comes and the end of the night is here, scheduled potential 25 minutes, if we're in minute 23, can I be as present and defending and offensively attacking as he can? They're going to ask themselves that, and they may never get to the point that they figure it out. When they answer that question, if the question is adverse to them, the whole night's going to fall apart. And every athlete will ask himself before he makes that walk. Every single one, every single time. And you will adjust your plan accordingly. No, I can't hold up. I got to get rid of him now. I'm coming at him in the first 4 minutes. I'm coming at him in the first 7 seconds until I peter out, ball up and quit. But that's where I got to put the shots, put the power, take this fight away, and never test the deep waters. I watched a lot of Rob Font fights, man. I don't think you can make him quit. I don't think you can get him to that level of exhaustion. And a combat athlete's biggest fear is not losing the match. His biggest fear is exhaustion. A combat athlete's biggest fear is I get so tired, I cannot defend myself. I cannot finish the match. I cannot go on. And you will see guys that ball up, right? They cover and the guys pound the rear naked choke. You think rear naked choke, oh, that must be a really great attack. You would have no idea if it is or not because you have nothing to compare it to. You can't just say, well, X percentage of fights that finished in a submission finished with this technique, or X a fight that were finished overall finished with this technique. It must be a really good technique. The rear naked choke is the sign when the other guy has had enough. He finds a way to the mat. He finds a way to his knees. He finds a way to let the guy set the choke in. And then you can even watch it. The defensive guy, oh, no, it's not quite there. A little, oh, you got me. I mean, right? It's like watching practice. It's exactly like watching practice, and it's a very misunderstood technique and position because the numbers are so skewed. You don't know when a guy forced another man against his will to a position and made him surrender, or when a guy's had enough. There's very few ways out. In most other sports, your way out when you're at this point, of mental and physical exhaustion, timeout. Timeout. Coach. Oh, let me fix something in my eye. Oh, hey, referee. Hey, let me tie my shoe. The lace came undone. Hey, coach, bench me. That's the general way that sports work when you're at that point, so you never get caught. Nobody ever knows that you were exhausted. Nobody ever knows that you mentally were slipping. In MMA, you can't do that. But you can go to your knees. You can let the hooks come in. Right? What a prick. Whoever said that. It's called putting the legs in. It's been called putting the legs in from the beginning of time. Some jerk somewhere decided to call it hooks, right? It's one of the weirder things about commentary this morning. He put the hooks in. Oh, he's starting to come under the chin now. When a guy gets there, it doesn't matter if you have his chin or you don't have his chin. Once he's made the decision to go to the rear naked choke position, he's made the decision that the fight is over. Lock the damn thing and squeeze. He'll do the rest for you. Jose Aldo has seen one weakness ever, by my eyes. And I don't feel it was shown in that 13 seconds with Conor McGregor. I think Conor caught him. Stuff happens. Dreams were made that night for Conor, and Jose had to put him over. It's just the way that it goes. When Jose fought Max, there was problems. Even if you go watch the Jose fight with Peter Yan, Jose had moments, he had sequences, he even had a round. Things fell apart and it got into a back and forth. But if you go watch the Max fights, Jose could not keep up. That was a stylistic nightmare. There was a reach problem, there was an output problem, there was a positional problem, there was just a whole bunch of problems with that fight. But that's the one that you have to turn to find any weaknesses with Jose Aldo. Sure, if you hit him on the chin, he might go down. Who the hell wouldn't? Right? You hit a guy on the chin hard enough, he'll go down, right? If you watch how Max was able to overwhelm him, and a lot of it did have to do with that pacing and pressure and just that nonstop in your face. That's generally what Jose does to the opposition. But if you can get that upper hand, if you can start to get a little momentum like a snowball and build that builder and keep going, that is the one thing that you've seen in the illustrious career of Jose Aldo that's given him problems. You want to submit another one? I'm all ears. Leave me a comment. I would love to know another problem that you've ever seen Jose had, whether he wins the match or doesn't. You show me a problem that he wasn't physically and or mentally prepared to defend himself against. I think that's it. We happen to see it twice, but I think that that's it. So there's not a lot that Rob Font has to go off of here. But Rob has a very good momentum. And I really feel that this needs to be told as a way of serving Jose Aldo. I don't know how many of you think that Jose or anybody beating Rob Font puts you into a world title fight. I submit for you it should. Rob is that good. And if Rob gets over on Jose, Rob should be considered. And I haven't checked DraftKings. I will. I haven't checked it yet. But I will bet you right now these are damn near even money. I don't think I'm the only analyst out here. I don't think I'm the only fight fan sitting back going, man, this is a toss-up fight. This could be anybody's. This is going to be probably a long, drawn-out evening, and the judges are going to have to render a decision. I think that you're all thinking that too. Whether you're leaning toward Rob or you're leaning toward Jose, I think that most of you would agree with me, man, this is a hard fight to pick. So we will pick it. We will put the curse. That's to come. But for right now, let's at least agree as a community that Rob Font is awesome. That beating Rob Font means something.